All right, welcome. Thank you all for being here. As far as props go today, two yoga blocks, if you have them. If you don't, make sure you've got two blankets, two towels that can roll up or fold up to be about the same size. I will also be using my blanket to pad my knees, which is optional. And the strap today is only if you need it for the quad stretch. So if you struggle to reach back to get the foot, grab a strap for our purposes today. And we are going to work on basically, in a nutshell, deactivating the muscles that run between the shoulders and the neck. These muscles are called your upper trapezius muscles, or upper traps for short. And when the flip side of deactivating these muscles is activating some of the opposing muscle groups, which are your lower trapezius or lower traps. And they run from, turn so you can see me here, from the inside bottom corner of the shoulder blade diagonally down to mid-back. And then your lats, your latissimus dorsi muscle, which actually attaches on the inner upper arm, comes down through the armpit, through the mid and upper back, and attaching more in the lower back. And that's sort of similar diagonal type of fashion. And those muscles are important to activate in the drive phase of the stroke. If your upper trapezius muscles tend to overactivate, or I call them sometimes the busybody or officious, like they try to jump in on the action even when they're not really wanted, then you're going to end up here with those shoulders up, wearing the shoulders as earrings. So we're going to work on being able to deactivate those muscles and activate the ones down below that are going to give you more power in the drive phase of your stroke, and are going to help you with posture and help prevent injury, rotator cuff, impingement, bursitis type of issues at the shoulders, as well as tension and pain at the neck. So the first thing we're going to do is deactivate or turn off these upper trapezius muscles. So we're going to put the muscles into a slackened position. When the muscle's slackened, which is the opposite of stretching, the muscle tension turns off. So we are going to be using the blocks and a blanket here, or two pillows, two folded up blankets. We're going to be placing the blocks overhead when we're lying down. The blocks will be sort of like the roof of the house. So that's coming here. And then I'm going to roll my blanket up, a long, skinny roll. And I'm making like sort of a rainbow or an arc type of shape, and that's going to go on top. So I've made this arc, or this roof, that's going to go over my head when I'm lying down. So I'm lying down face up. My head is under the roof. So my head is not on that blanket here, but my arms are going to be there. So I'm placing my arms overhead in a sort of diamond shaped position. So my elbows are bent and out to the sides, and my palms are facing up. And you can be in whatever position feels comfortable here to the back with your legs. So for me, it's having knees bent, but knees straight. Or even I sometimes combine this one, the legs up on a chair for the hip flexor, low back relaxation. Make any adjustments you need to. If your chest muscles are really tight, sometimes you need more elevation under the arms so the muscles can relax. And we're looking for decrease in tension in those muscles that run between the shoulders and the neck, the upper traps. And if you want to check in, you could take one hand and press on those muscles. If it feels squishy, that means the muscle is relaxed. If it still feels tensed, then you might need to make some adjustments here. Maybe scooching up under that roof a little bit more, or elbows out a little bit more, or more elevation under the arms. So I'm going to have you here for another minute or two. Possibly longer. Let's come into that breath here. And I want you to stay. I think someone has sort of broken through the muting. So I'm going to just make sure everyone is muted here. So you're not hearing what's going on with them, but just me. Bring your attention to your breath. Perhaps each exhale is an opportunity to relax a little bit more. Begin to breathe in and out through the nose. Start to slow the breath down, lengthen it out. We're not doing super deep breaths. Big deep breaths are usually a little bit more excitatory as opposed to relaxing. If we slow the breath down, it signals to the nervous system we're in a safe, calm place. This arm position, signaling to those muscles it's okay to turn off. We don't need you here engaging. So if you tend to have a lot of tension around the neck, in that area between shoulders and neck, this is a good position to come into even several times a day. For my physical therapy clients, I say up to 4 times a day for at least 90 seconds. Take the next few breaths to set an intention for your practice. And thinking about the reason why you've shown up today, why you've taken the time to share your practice. Maybe it's about letting go of tension. Maybe it's about connecting to your body or this very specific part of the body around the neck, the shoulders, shoulder blades. Maybe it's about learning, being curious, becoming a better rower. Whatever your reason, bring this thought to the front of your mind and breathe with intention. So I'm going to have you leave the props where you have them now, but bring your arms down by your sides. We might come back to this position. We're going to experiment with that arm position as we move into some core here. So we're going to do the lower half of dead bug, meaning we're not going to use the arms. This exercise is really about engaging your innermost layer of abdominal muscles. But sometimes what happens when we engage the core is our neck and these shoulder muscles tend to tense up. So we're going to start with the arms in this position down by the sides or hands on the belly. Bring the feet up, knees bent, shins start parallel to the floor. Press your back ribs and back of the hips into the floor. And notice if just pressing the back ribs into the floor, you start to tense up around the neck and shoulders. We're going to come back to that. We'll start with the legs. We're lowering one foot down, tap it on the floor, and then bring it back up to start. Alternating legs, inhale, tap the other foot down, and exhale, pull it back up to the starting position. Alternating legs, keeping the back ribs and the back of the hips pressed down. And maybe you're feeling, I feel this tension kind of build in my neck a little bit. So I'm going to come back into that upper traps relaxation position, letting the arms rest overhead. and then I'll continue to do this core work. And for me, this takes away some of that tension around the neck and the shoulders. So I'm using my core without over engaging through the neck or through these busy body muscles, right? Because we want the abdominal muscles to support the spine. We don't want our neck muscles to support the low back. That's not an efficient use of musculature. You can go a little more challenging by stretching that leg out further. The other position that I'll often do with this is hands behind the head, which is a very similar position for turning off those upper traps. All right, we'll pull the knees in, and now you could use your arms here to hold the shins or backs of the thighs and just start to gently rock a little side to side. So you'll see throughout the practice, we're going to do some things to engage other muscles and get those upper traps to turn off. All right, rolling on over here, we're going to come up to hands and knees, and you might use that blanket to pad the knees here. We're starting in tabletop, where you have the knees under the hips, wrist under shoulders, or loose fist under shoulders, or forearms down, elbows under shoulders. Different positions here depending on how the weight bearing feels in your hands. Cat and cow motions of the spine. So we're rounding the back on the exhale. Tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone under. On your inhale, lift the tailbone, pull the chest forward. We exhale, round the back up towards the ceiling into cat. Push the floor away here. Inhale, lift the hips, belly towards the floor, chest forward. Here's the cow. Back and forth a few more times. Take your time on the transition here. You have that lengthened breath, so the time it takes to get between cat and cow is the length of the breath. And this gives you more time to feel what's happening at the spine, what's happening with the shoulder blades, with the hips here. And does this movement feel good? Does it feel like it's opening up, loosening up places, or does it feel like painful or over-engaging? We're going to bring the spine back into this neutral position here. Bring the knees out a little wider than your hips. And we're going to leave this right arm down. And we're pulling the left elbow up towards the ceiling. Look towards the left here. So chest and gaze open towards the left. Notice that shoulder right up towards the ear. See if you can just kind of loosely pull it back down. We'll bring this hand down and do the other side. So we inhale, pull the right elbow towards the ceiling. Look towards the right. Did that shoulder right up towards the ear. See if you can make a little bit more space between ear and shoulder. And lower down. We'll go side to side. If you allow that elbow to pull straight up towards the ceiling, or maybe even up towards the ceiling and then towards the back wall, you might get those upper traps to turn off here, as well as having this rotation through that mid and upper back. All right, we're going to lower both hands back down, and we're coming to either a child's or puppy pose. So child's pose, the hips are over the heels, the forehead is resting down, and this works for a lot of us, but if you're working with osteoporosis, herniated disc, maybe hip or knee issues, come into this puppy pose where you have the hips over the knees. I'm going to turn to face you here. In fact, I might do both angles so you can see. If you want to watch on the first one here, you can. So we're going to do this from either child's or puppy, doesn't matter which. I'm going to walk my hands over to the right and bring that head back down. Now, if it doesn't rest easily on the floor, maybe slide a block underneath the forehead or fist under the forehead here. So we're stretching through this left side, left arm. I want you to pretend like the left palm has suction cups on it, the fingertips suction cup to the ground, and then pull on that hand. So you pull your hips further away from your heels, and then release it. So keep that suction cup of the hand on the ground. We exhale, pull that arm back so the shoulder blade slides down the back ribs, and then we inhale, release. We'll do that a few more times. So this is activation of your lower trapezius muscles and the lats. And hopefully you're able to do this without the upper traps activating. And you might even reach over there and see, is it staying pretty relaxed? You can press with that right hand. I'm going to do a few more here. And then we'll relax that, walking it over to the left. Right arm stretching out so my elbows off the floor here. Maybe support that forehead with the left fist or yoga block. And now my right hand is suction cup. My fingers, my palm is suction cup to the floor. And then I pull on that arm. So my shoulder blade slides down the back ribs and I pull myself forward and to the left a little, my torso that is, and then release it. So we exhale, pull through that shoulder blade, inhale, release. A few more here. So this is just an activation of the lower traps and the lats. So you can feel what that is like without the upper trapezius muscles jumping in on the game. Coming back here up to the next one, relaxing. And then we're going to come back to the center, finding either child's or puppy pose. Instead of stretching the arms forward, stack the hands under the forehead here. Take a few breaths. This is another position to turn off the upper traps. This is similar to what we were on our back in that diamond shape, arms elevated position. So just another way to get those upper traps to turn off. Take a few more breaths here, turning back to my normal orientation on the mat. And remember, you can rest at any time during the practice. You can do any alternatives. You can modify. You can make any adjustments that is helpful during the yoga practice today, meaning you don't have to do exactly what I do. You can stay here longer, or when you're ready, coming back up into that tabletop, the hands and knees position. Doing a little bit here with the core, but again, these shoulder blade activation exercises. So firm your belly, solid wall of your abs, lengthen the spine, tailbone and top of the head reaching away from each other. And then actually, let's bring our knees out just a little wider the hips for just a little bit more stability, because I want you to be able to concentrate on the arm movement. We're going to bring the left arm out to the side, so it's coming off the yoga mat. Turn your arm so the thumb is pointing up. And then we're going to lift that straight arm up towards the ceiling. Notice when the shoulder starts to ride towards the ear, and see if you can relax that and then lower back down. So you may have to limit the movement here. You may not lift very high. We're going to lift that arm, thumb up, and then lower back down. And if you feel that upper traps activating, the shoulder riding up towards the ear, limit the movement here. One more. All right, lower that hand back down. Might feel good to do a few cat-cows, or even sit back on your heels and just do a couple of shoulder blade circles. And see if you can feel the difference between the sides. So my left side that I did, I can feel that muscle work, like it's a little fatigued. There's a little more blood flow there. So coming back to the hands and knees. Knees are a little wider than hips. Firm the belly, lengthen the spine. I'm going to bring my right hand out a little wider. I'm going to turn just so you can see me here from the front. I'm going to bring my right hand out a little wider than the shoulder. Elbows straight, the thumb is pointing up. And I'm going to raise this arm up, straight elbow. When you start to notice that shoulder hunching towards the ear, you may be gone too far. Lower back down. So you may only lift partway up. So you get that activation. This is lower traps activation. We're trying not to get the upper traps to turn on. All right, lower that hand back down. And then again, maybe a few cat-cows, or stand up on the knees, shake out the wrist, roll the shoulders. Coming back here, 2 hands and knees. I'm going to step 1 foot back, toes tucked. Here's our toe rocking movement where we shift forward, toes bending, press the heel back. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, pressing the heel back. A few more here, working on opening up through the sole of the foot, the calf, that Achilles tendon, mobilizations for the toes, ankle joint. And then we'll switch sides. So if you've been doing these classes with me here, you know that I'm setting us up for a down dog. I am going to take a moment here and do a little longer explanation of the shoulder positioning and shoulder blade positioning in down dog. And I'm going to pause and cue you to stop and look and then join in a moment. So we'll lower both knees down here, setting up for down dog. This can be a challenging pose. So remember, you could do puppy, which is a kneeling down dog, basically, or any other movement that feels good. So I'm starting with my hands a little forward of the shoulders, the fingers spread out. Tuck your toes and reach your hips up and back. So we'll all do that down dog together if you're choosing to. Now I'm a little tight through the backs of my legs today. This is actually my first yoga practice today. So I'm going to bend my knees a little bit, push the sitting bones up and back so the spine is long. Take a moment here, maybe pedal the feet or rise up on the toes, release the heels. And then notice, where are the shoulders? Are you really pushing hard through the arms and the shoulders are up by your ears? Just note that right now. And then come down to hands and knees. So I'm going to turn here so you can see what's happening at my neck and my shoulders from the front view. And then, so I want you all to pause and look at the screen. If you need to, come up closer to the screen to see, because when you can see it, it just makes a lot more sense than me being able to cue it. So I'm going to come into that down dog again. I have my knees a little bent here, which is helpful for keeping my spine long, the hips up and back. Now, often people tend to really push through the arms, and I'm going to get my hair out of the way, push through the arms so the shoulders are up by the ears. But if you can roll the upper arms outward, they'll move the shoulders away from the ears. So I'm going to do this. I'm bending elbows out to the side just a little bit. Now I'm going to roll my inner elbows forward, like the part where you get your blood drawn rolls forward. And then I'm straightening my elbows. And so now my neck is a lot longer, as opposed to it being here, shoulders by the ears. I've lengthened the neck. And my shoulder blades are actually wrapping around my side ribs. All right, so we're going to do that again, all together here. So hands and knees. Start with the hands a little wider than shoulder distance apart, hips up and back in that down dog. Maybe that bend to the knees here. Bend the elbows out to the sides just a touch. Roll the inner elbows forward and then straighten the elbows. Let the head relax. Maybe shake that head out like you're saying no or nodding yes. Take another breath. Looking forward, we're going to step the left foot between the hands. And it might need some help to get there. You could lower that right knee. Let that left hand help the foot come forward. Bring both hands up on that front thigh to lift the torso here into this upright position. So I've already alluded to this a little bit, especially when we raise our arms up or if we're reaching for things, those upper traps tend to activate. Sometimes we can do a little twist or rotation in the arm at the shoulder to get it to deactivate. So we'll come into this long spine, tailbone down, top of the head up. You reach both arms up overhead, palms face each other. And then notice how, again, are those shoulders riding up towards the ears. Sometimes we can bring the hands out a little wider and allows the shoulder blades to slide down the back. So you can see me here from the back, shoulder blades just sliding down instead of pushing them down. Sometimes they just don't want to go. These upper traps sort of tend to stay engaged. So come into this cactus arm position. So we're in a little external rotation, the forearms kind of rotating back. Now see if you can let the shoulder blades slide down the back a little bit. Keep that spine long. Feel the neck length here. All right, we're going to release both hands to the floor around the front foot. Step this back into a plank. Knees down or up. We're exhaling to lower down to the ground. Again, this low cobra is a deactivation of the upper traps and activation of the lower traps. Pull the shoulder blades towards the spine. Pull them down towards the back waist to peel the head and chest up off the floor. So that's your lower traps. Lifting the chest, lifting the head. Exhale, lower. Let's practice that a couple more times. So shoulder blades towards spine. Pull them towards the back waist. Pushing very little with the hands and neck is long. Exhale, lower. One more. Shoulder towards spine, back waist. Lift the head and chest. And then exhale, press up, pull the belly in. We're going to make our way into that down dog. Take a breath here. Maybe a bend to the knees. Elbows bend out to the sides a little. Pull or turn the inner elbows to face forward and then straighten the elbows. Relax through the head and neck. Look forward. We're stepping the right foot between the hands, helping it get there. Lower that back knee. Lift the torso. Find that length in the spine. Arms float up, palms face each other. Notice, where did those shoulders ride up? Are those upper traps activating? Can you release them a little bit? Maybe you come into that cactus arm position. See if the shoulder blades will slide down your back a little bit more here. Exhale, bring the hands down to the floor around the front foot. We're stepping the back foot to the front foot. So finding a forward fold. It could be the ragdoll version, knees bent, upper body draped over, or this position protective of the spine. If you have bone density issues, herniated disc, or you're really tight, it's feet wide, butt back, forearms on your thighs. Here in the forearm on the thighs position, press into your arms and lengthen that neck. Maybe you sway a little bit. If you're in the ragdoll, let the top of the head hang towards the floor. And maybe you hold elbows here. So this is the other and other off switch position for the upper traps. Take a few breaths. Bonus with the ragdoll forward fold as you get a little vagus nerve stimulation as well, which is relaxing to the nervous system. We'll bring this weight shift into center, bend the knees, look forward, strong legs, come on up. Take a couple of backward shoulder rolls. So those backward shoulder rolls, again, when we shrug the shoulders up towards the ears, that's the upper traps. When we pull our shoulder blades back, that's the middle traps. When we pull the shoulder blades down, it's the lower traps. So sometimes a contract of those muscles, and then we let them go, and the opposite muscles kind of pulling you there. All right, I'm going to move that blanket out of the way. Turn to face the left side of your mat and bring your feet out wide and toes turned out. We're coming into goddess, or this wide-legged squat position. So bend through the knees and the hips. And we want to find that length in the spine, tailbone down towards the earth, top of the head up towards the sky. We're going to bring both arms forward here. Straightening the legs, pull the elbows back, the palms up, shoulder blades squeeze together, neck long, and then exhale, sit back, reach forward. So we inhale, rise up, shoulder blades squeeze, but not shoulders riding up, and then sit back, reach forward. We'll do that a few more times. So that's middle traps, rhomboids as well. All right, come on up on the next one, releasing the arms down. We're going to turn that left foot inward, and the right foot is turning to face the front edge of the mat. So we're setting up into warrior two. Hips are angled off a little here towards the left. Bend through that right knee. We find that length in the spine, tailbone down, top of the head up. And then warrior two, we let our arms float forward and back. So right hand towards the front of the mat, left hand towards the back of the mat. And again, often in this position, those upper traps, these busybodies activating, try turning your palms and inner elbows up towards the ceiling, and then see if you can let the shoulder blades slide down your back so the neck is long. Gazing over that front hand as if you're holding something really interesting in that right palm. Feel this left arm, that palm, the inner elbow facing up. We're about to change the torso in the front arm position, but the left arm, this rotation here of that shoulder blade sliding back, we're going to come back to it. So bring the back hand to the hip and either front hand to the thigh or the forearm to the thigh. We're coming into extended side angle. First, leverage of the arm against the leg to open that chest here towards the side. And start with this left arm reaching straight up, the palm is out. Now you could keep it here and keep the neck long, right? So again, when we lengthen through that neck, come out of the shoulders, that's lower traps activation and deactivation of the upper trap. So you could stay with this, or extended side angle where the arm reaches overhead. And again, that shoulder wants to right up towards the ear. So if I think about rotating my palm towards the floor, the thumb towards the wall behind me, I can slide my shoulder blade down my back. And now I have all this space between my collarbone and my left ear. Strong legs, inhale, rise up. And we're gonna step, actually, let's bring both hands down around the front foot. Step this back into a plank. Knees down or up, exhale, lower to the ground. Low cobra or a bigger one here, but let's all start with low. Shoulder blades towards the spine, towards the back waist, lift the head and chest. So you could stay here, this hopefully deactivating the upper traps or pressing yourself up here a little bit higher, those shoulder blades sliding down the back ribs. Tuck your toes, use your lower abs to push your hips up and back. Find that down dog. Neck relax, shake the head out. Bend the knees and step or hop to the front of the mat. Strong legs, inhale, rise up. Maybe you reach up and exhale, hands to prayer. Let this go. Shake it out, roll those shoulders. Then we'll turn to face the other side of the mat. So facing the right side of your mat, I'm just switching as to which is the front and the side. Going back into that goddess, feet wide, toes turned out, bend through the knees. Tailbone down, top of the head up, arms reaching forward. We're straightening the legs, pull the elbows back, a little shoulder blade squeeze. Inhale, sit back, reach forward. Pull back, straighten the knees. Inhale, sit, reach forward. A few more. All right, we'll come on up here to stand, relaxing the arms. Now we're going to turn the right foot inward, the left foot towards the front of the mat, bending that left knee. Here's our warrior two stance, long spine, arms reaching forward and back. Notice where those shoulders are, what's happening at the upper traps. Are they feeling like some activation? I feel mine there. So I'm going to turn my palms and inner elbows to face up and then let the shoulder blades slide down. And now these upper traps are able to let go a little bit more easily. Gaze over that front palm. Breathe. So remember the sensation of this positioning here of that right arm. We're going to come back to it at that extended side angle. So we'll bring right hand to the hip and either left hand to the thigh or forearm to the thigh. Leverage of the arm against the leg to open that chest more to the right side. Right leg could come up, palm facing outward. And then instead of just kind of sinking down in here, rise out of it a little bit. Neck is long. You could stay here, or the extended side angle where we reach the arm overhead. So I'm reaching my hand towards the wall here in front of my mat. My palm faces down and the thumb is pointing back. And then see if that you get a little more rotation of that inner upper arm towards you. So the shoulder blade could slide down the back ribs a little bit. And it might even kind of wrap around the side ribs like we do in the down dog. Strong legs, rise up. And this time we're just going to step the back foot to the front foot. Come on up, roll the shoulders, shake out your legs. Anyone else feeling that area between the shoulder blades here? Down that mid back. We are going to do a relaxation pose for that in just a moment. But we'll come into a balanced pose next with some same activation of the arms. If you struggle with balance, the squishier the surface, the more challenging it is. So you might step off your yoga mat, you might have a hand at the wall or on a steady piece of furniture, or just be close enough to know that if you needed it, you could put your hand out there, it would catch you. We're coming into tree pose. Bring one foot forward, spread the toes out, place them down, spread out. Shift your weight onto that foot. We're going to start in the kickstand version of this first. So the other foot, the heel is just above the ankle, the toes are down. And instead of having a crooked tree, which kind of makes you have to compensate in both directions, think about, again, that tailbone down, the top of the head up, which sort of starts to level the pelvis and the shoulders and stack joints over joints. We'll do hands on hips here to start. You could stay with the toes down or bring the foot up to the inner calf, the knee. Maybe you reach down and pull it up to the inner thigh, but it's not important to get it higher. Think about pressing the foot and leg into each other towards that midline. You could stay here, hands down, just think about that lengthening through the neck, gaze focused on a non-moving spot. Or similar to what we did in that knee down lunge, you could bring your arms up. If the shoulders tend to rise up, come into that cactus shape, but keep it easy. Shoulder blades sliding down the back. So it's a deactivation of those upper traps here. All right, let it go. Swing it out, shake it out. Other side, foot forward, spread the toes, shift your weight onto it. Let's start the kickstand version, get it set up. Tailbone down, top of the head up, focus the gaze. Stay here or bring that foot up higher on the leg. Press the foot and leg in towards each other so that forces towards midline. You could keep the hands down, neck long, or arms up, or cactus, or some kind of like Y shape here, but the palms and inner elbows facing up or in towards each other. Just getting the feeling of using your arms without the upper traps getting in on the action. And we'll let this go. Shake it out, roll it out. We're coming into a seated position. I'm going to come onto the floor. If it is hard for you to sit tall on the floor, even using props, I'd rather you sit in a chair, sit on the front edge of the chair, because it's more important that your spine is long than it is for you to sit on the floor. I'm going to fold my blanket up and just come into a cross-legged position. I'm elevating my sitting bones on that blanket. This allows me to, the pelvis to tip forward a little bit, which gets my spine out of this sort of C-shaped position. So I keep that length here in the spine. So we've been talking about deactivating, releasing, relaxing the muscles here, the upper trapezius. Now we're going to give them a gentle stretch. If this is an area where you feel tight, generally tight, go easy, right? Aggressive, intense stretching, painful stretching backfires and makes you tighter. So sitting tall, we're going to tip one ear towards the shoulder. Remind the shoulders to relax. So this is an area of tension and tightness for me. Sometimes the weight of the head and my arms staying relaxed is enough stretch. You could stay here, or you could reach this arm out and down. So the arm away from the head tilt is reaching down and out towards the floor. You could rotate the palm forward and rotate the palm back. Maybe you find a sweet spot and hold that position, or you keep moving. Breathe. Relax the shoulders a little bit more on the exhale, but keep the spine long. Bring the hand down, chin towards the chest, and then lift the head up. So we come up that way so we don't activate the upper traps to pull the head back up after having just stretched it. Maybe see if you notice a difference between the sides here. And then we'll tilt the head the other way. Might be different on this side. Remind the shoulders to relax. Could be enough. You don't need to add the arm, or you can reach the arm out and down, the arm away from the head tilt. Maybe you play with palm forward, palm back. Maybe you find the sweet spot of the stretch and hold it. Remember, we don't want pain, or we don't even want a zing going down the arm. So avoiding those positions. Take another couple breaths. We'll bring the arm down, the chin down, and lift the head. See how it feels. Maybe some backward shoulder rolls or just a little release here through the shoulders and the neck. And then we're going to come onto our bellies. We're going to do the next three poses belly down. I'm going to use my blanket to pad my front hip bones and my pubic bones here. So I'm just unfolding a thinner layer underneath. Coming into our quad stretch first. You might need the strap for this, so bringing that there. We're going to bend one knee, reach back with the same side hand for that foot. Maybe you're resting the cheek on the ground or hand under the forehead here. And if you're struggling to get the foot, or you get a cramp in the calf or pain in the knee, or lassoing that strap around the ankle, and rest the head, right? So you're not up in that chest up position. Rest the head here. Lengthen the kneecap towards the foot of the mat. So you start to open up through the hip flexors as well as the quads. Releasing this here. Switch and do this on the other side. Using the strap if it's helpful. Lengthen the kneecap towards the foot of your mat. Breathe. Lowering that foot down to the floor. We're coming into a couple of locust poses. These are belly down back bends. If you have some arthritis in the lower back, you could still do these. You might place a pillow under the low belly so your lumbar spine starts from a flexed position. Or you could come onto your back and do bridge pose instead. So I'm coming into a specific position here for the arms. I'm going to bring them out to the sides in a T. Turn your arms so the palms face forward, the thumbs are pointing up. So this is that same positioning we just did in both the Warrior Two and the side angle. So notice how when you really get the palms forward, the shoulders start to pull away from the ears. Keeping that, and then engage the core, tailbone towards the feet. Lift the head and chest, lift the arms, leading with the thumbs, so a little shoulder blade squeeze. Maybe add a leg lift. The gaze is down and forward instead of hyperextended neck, just forward, lower down. Keep the palms forward, tailbone away from the head. Inhale, lift, shoulder blade squeeze. Exhale, lower. Let's do 2 or 3 more. Lower on down. You can bring arms forward to rest the head. Bend the knees, rock the legs side to side here. We've done most of the hard stuff. You might be feeling those muscles between the shoulder blades and ones that run from the shoulder blades to the mid and lower back. Might be a little fatigued after all this activation. Maybe they were even tired before we started. Now those muscles get a rest. So we've talked about how to turn off those upper trapezius muscles in the relaxation positions. Here we are getting the upper back to relax. I'm going to use my 2 yoga blocks for this, but it could be 2 rolled up towels or blankets, and that might be more comfortable than the firmer blocks. But I'm placing these underneath my shoulders, under the front of my shoulders, snuggled and close to the ribs, arms out to the sides or down by the sides, whatever is comfortable to you, you can decide. And it does change which muscles relax. So down by the sides, we're going to get the lower trapezius ones to relax. Out to the sides, middle trapezius, rhomboids a little bit more. So you don't even have to know what it is. Just experiment and see what feels good. The idea here is the props are pushing the shoulder blades towards the spine, so those muscles slacken. So they're not stretched, they're the opposite of stretched. And the slackened position is like the off switch. The muscles cannot really contract unless you consciously override it. So for me, this is feeling pretty good, but I know in my body that it would feel even better if I come up on the taller side of the blocks. And if you're broader through the shoulders, that might be you. And if you're loose enough through the chest, that might be you. So you might need more elevation there. And the goal here is to not do anything besides breathe. Allowing the whole body just to release towards the earth. The props push the shoulders back. So what I'm feeling here is this vague warmth going on in my upper back. And the reason I'm feeling that is the muscles are relaxed enough that the blood can actually flow through them, into them. When those muscles hold so much tension, it diminishes the blood flow. And one of the first signs of lack of blood flow to your body is an achy sensation. If it goes on long enough, it starts to get burning. And if it goes on long enough, it starts to be really painful. So here's my off switch for those muscles between the shoulder blades, ones between shoulder blade and spine. You could stay longer. This might be feeling really good to you. I'm going to come up and roll onto my back. Coming into a little hip stretching here. So knees bent, cross one thigh over the other, pull the legs in towards you, holding shins or backs of thighs, or use the strap to hold here. So this is another position, and I cue this one almost all the time, so I know you've heard me say it, is notice what's happening at the neck and shoulders. So if the shoulders are kind of hunched up or you're holding some tension there, keep the grip of the hold on your legs, but see if you can relax the neck and the shoulders. See if you can relax the jaw muscles. So often when we tense the neck and shoulder muscles, we tend to clench the jaw. If you have tension and tightness in the jaw, or if you're noticing how much you clench your jaw, there are a few things you can do in the moment to get it to relax. One is the smile that Felix was talking about. Another way is to swallow and then open the mouth and keep the mouth open. So swallow, open the mouth, relaxing the jaw. The other way is you can keep the mouth closed, but press the tip of the tongue to the back of the top teeth. You're not pressing hard, just placing the tongue to the back side of the top front teeth. And you cannot clench the jaw. When you're ready, switch legs, other one on top. Once you have the hand position, check in with the neck and shoulders, get them to relax. Try one of those 3 things if you notice the jaw clenching, the smile, the swallow, open the mouth, the tip of the tongue pressing into the top of the back front teeth. Breathe. Untangling the legs here. Pull the knees in towards you, arms out. Drop both legs over to one side. You could stay right here. Maybe you like a different variation of the legs crossed or top leg straight, or maybe it feels like too much and you place a prop under the legs. Head up towards the ceiling. Gently turn away from the legs. And just take a body scan here. Is an area where you're still holding on? Maybe it's that same area around the neck and the shoulders. Can you consciously relax it? Can you reposition? Sometimes more cactus arm position feels better than straight arm. Sometimes gaze towards the ceiling instead of head turn feels better, more relaxed. When you're ready, pull the knees in, maybe hug in here on your back, or a happy baby, or sort of a gentle rocking in between it when you're ready, legs off to the other side. Your variation, or use a prop here to help. Gaze towards the ceiling or head turned away. And if you're just noticing like, oh, this is really a lot, or it feels like I'm straining, what can you do to release some tension? Maybe it's just a change in arm position or head position, leg position. Maybe it's just a conscious, okay, let it go. I feel it tensing. Can I release around the jaw, the neck, the shoulders? When you're ready, pulling the knees in, gently hugging or circling or rocking. Decide if there's something you'd like to do before Shavasana, before relaxation, a happy baby, an inversion, something else that might feel missing from your practice. And then think about how you'd like to set yourself up for your Shavasana. So I'm going to come back into that upper traps relaxation position. You can combine that with the hip flexor relaxation, the legs up on the chair pose, kind of when you relax from both ends of the body, tends one area of relaxation tends to help the other area relax a little bit more. In fact, I'm going to do that here. So I'm going to pull my chair over and come into, this is a double relaxation position. But you can be in whatever pose allows you to relax the most. Wherever you've chosen to be, eyes could be open or closed, whatever feels the most natural. Take an inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, let out a sigh. Another way to release tension around the jaw. Do that again. Let the breath go, allowing the body to rest, to be supported by the earth and the props. Take the next few minutes to rest. There might be some things that were new to you in the practice today, new sensation in the muscles. Rest is when your body incorporates and really holds on to that information. So let yourself rest for the next few minutes, if not just for the idea of resting the body, but if for helping to integrate this new info. Start to deepen your breath. Add some gentle movements here, turning the head, wiggling the fingers, toes. Maybe start to circle the wrists and ankles. Maybe you come out of whatever position you're in, stretching your way out of it. Bend the knees if you're on your back and roll to your side. Use your arm to support the head. Pause here for a moment. Take a few more lengthened breaths. Taking this opportunity perhaps to appreciate your body, your breath, your health, and your yoga practice. Being gentle, press up to a seated position. Thank you all for being here, sharing your practice and energy. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste. Thank you. Let me know if you have any questions, comments.
Yeah, there was a raised hand.